Hi, everybody. This is Adam Elenbaas from Nightlight Astrology, and these are December's horoscopes. So this is the horoscope for Capricorn for the month of December. Let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you can see it. It's a big month for everybody right now because we're coming into solstice season, and eclipse season is coming up in January. So we're moving towards some big changes. The big areas of your chart that are highlighted this month, and everybody, is transits happening in Sagittarius, which is your 12th whole sign house. And then they're making squares to Neptune and Mars in your 3rd whole sign house. So this axis of the 12th and 3rd really highlighted this month. All right, so before I get into that, I do want to show you what's happening at the very start of the month, which is an opposition between Venus and Uranus across your 10th and 4th house. That is the axis of work, profession, professional life, reputation in the world, authorities, advancement, promotion, and also 4th house is a place of home and family. So very basically, what does that mean? It means that right now with Venus opposite Uranus, it could be a very disruptive transit for relationships in the workplace or relationships at home and family, or the balance or difficulty in balancing those two areas of life where you're living what you call home, your private sphere, your parents, your family members, or the 10th house, which is a place of work. So how are you creating balance across those two areas right now? That might be tricky or challenging. And then you're also thinking about, just in general, Venus representing relationships, hitting that really disruptive, I'll do it my own way kind of energy of Uranus. Then there's a potential for upheaval in relationships. Let's just put it that way. So that's toning the start of the month for you in a big way, and is kind of there in the picture to start the month in a way that really can't be ignored. Like that's a huge start to the month. And then the rest of the month, though, is that 12th house, 3rd house connection. Let me just show you how much this actually repeats. So check this out. December 1st and 2nd, you're going to see the sun getting involved with the square to Mars. You go forward to December 7th, and then you're going to see the new moon in Sagittarius making a square to Mars and Neptune in Pisces. That's also a really big deal. Then you're going to go forward a little bit more before you see the next one, but then they come in another flurry. Around the 20th, 21st, you're going to see Mercury and Jupiter getting together in Sagittarius in your 12th house. And then you go forward to the 24th, you're going to see Jupiter and Mercury especially, moving into a square with Neptune and Pisces in the 3rd house. So it's like that all month long, punctuated. A little bit of a gap in the middle of the month, but really the energy of the 12th to 3rd connection is what I wanted to find, what I wanted to spend time talking about today. So 12th house is a place of shadows and secrets, of secret enemies, and of the kinds of, the devil on our shoulder that whispers in our ear and leads us off course. 12th house is traditionally called the house of bad spirit, and it's related to self-destructiveness, imprisonment, hospitalization, mental health problems. It's related to secret enemies. It's related to hospitals and prisons. It has a connotation also of shipwreck, ruin, wandering, isolation, loss, really dark night of the soul kind of house. However, with Jupiter in that house right now, it's also one of those times where seeing loss, really being real about loss, can lead to some incredibly enlightening moments this month. So in the shadows, there is a light. That's kind of the theme of the month for you, Capricorn. There's maybe deeper philosophical explorations, exploring your doubts, exploring your fears, exploring the shadows, and finding some nugget of truth there. You want to be careful of sort of philosophical nihilism this month, like I don't care, nothing means anything, and I'm really passionate about my bitterness. like Jupiter, Mercury in the 10th or the 12th can be sort of like that know-it-all atheist that is just ironically dogmatic about something that they believe as much as, let's say, a fundamentalist Christian might be about what they believe. So you have to be careful for extremes in terms of viewpoints this month. But also, it's a normal month where you may be doubting things or trying to search for answers through difficult experiences and actually finding some really amazing new ideas, thoughts, or beliefs in and through dark times. Now, you see this also repeated with Jupiter and Mercury in the 12th this month, and the Sun and stuff like that, but also the square to Neptune and Mars in the 3rd house, which is a house of the mind. It's a house of the mind, communication, learning, thinking. It is a place that is very intellectual and very communicative. So also, how are you communicating with other people this month? And, it's be careful, because it's a little bit of a foot in the mouth kind of month, or it's one of those months with planets in the 12th, especially Jupiter, Mercury, and the planets in the 3rd, where miscommunication can easily happen, or you can, again, foot and mouth syndrome is a real possibility here. But also interesting issues around sibling relationships, and, sometimes siblings, they want to do their own thing. They don't want to listen. They don't want to, you might be the older sibling and you have a lot of advice. They're not listening, and you have to kind of sit back and let them do their thing and crash. On the other hand, sometimes you're the sibling that's a know-it-all, and you need to just let people be. Or sometimes you're the younger sibling and you need to take some advice. Whatever the case might be with siblings, you could see issues around communication with siblings, or beliefs and advice and guidance and wisdom in siblings somehow coming to the forefront. You could also just see issues around other issues around sibling relationships in general that are either enlivening and kind of exciting, or possibly have something to do with sacrifice, emotional loss, etc., through the Neptune-Mars conjunction in Pisces in the 3rd house. Also, you're thinking about this month the sacrifice of the rational. There's this theme of Neptune and Mars in the 3rd house of the mind, square to Jupiter, Mercury, and the Sun, and so forth, going on all month long in the 12th, that could be asking you to surrender some tendency that you have to be too rational, too controlling, or too kind of strict or rigid in the way that you think. So maybe some loosening that's going to happen around that. You could also think about if you're traveling, if you're doing a lot of traveling, sometimes you'll have problems traveling. 12th house, 3rd house is like, I got to get my tire fixed, or there's issues with cars or travel, or delays while traveling, or just challenges while traveling. Reason for that being is that Mercury is going to square Neptune. Mercury is debilitated. 12th house, 3rd house, sometimes it's like, I'm sitting in an airport, I'm sitting on the tarmac for extra hours, or something like that. With travel could be a little bit frustrating. Something with neighbors could be a little bit frustrating. You also, again, want to be careful about gossip this month. Be very careful about what you say and how it's used for, against you or whatever. So be careful, who you talk to and who you share vulnerable information with this month. That's also something to stay aware of. So that's the gist of it. I want to talk about a few other transits that are happening that are interesting this month. Uranus in Sagittarius is also trine to, Sun in Sagittarius is also trine to Uranus in Aries in your 4th house from the 4th to the 12th. Could be a real breakthrough right around the holidays regarding something to do with your home, your property, or your family. Some kind of breakthrough that happens, though it may be somewhat difficult with the 12th house involved. The 12th house generally is a place where sometimes there's just loss or shadows that you're dealing with. But Uranus Sun trine is like a breakthrough. So some breakthrough, maybe a little difficult, maybe involving 4th house things like parents, home, family, or property. Again, just kind of thinking out loud here. Sometimes good things come through difficult things. This is maybe one of those moments. It's a pretty energized moment, though. I like it for you. And then on December 21st, 22nd, 23rd, it's the winter solstice. The sun's going to enter into your home sign, if you're a Capricorn sun sign, happy birthday season. If you're a Capricorn rising sign, doesn't apply as much, but the sun will enter Capricorn, the 1st house, for the next 30 days. That's pretty exciting. A lot of energy coming your way. It's just kind of your time of year. Full moon will land in Cancer in the 7th house of relationships on December 22nd, really putting a focus on relationships. But the big news is that these are foreshadowing of the eclipses that'll start for the next year and a half, starting next month. So year and a half worth of eclipses in your 1st and 7th house starting next month. These two transits of the winter solstice and the full moon, they kind of foreshadow it. Now, what can you expect? issues around self-identity, health, and also intimate relationships. These are going to be really highlighted in the next year and a half. A lot of change is going to come through these areas. Probably going to be good, but some of it, of course, with eclipses can be difficult. Some learning experiences around identity, health, self, relationships. Okay, so that's what I've got for you this month. I hope that that's interesting. I'd love to hear from you, Capricorns, and leave some messages or stories. Tell me how the month goes in the feed. I'd love to hear from you guys. And otherwise, when I see you next, it'll be the new year. So happy holidays. Have a great new year, and we'll see you in January.